Probably about 70%. Excellent. All right, so there's a couple of differences, obviously, with iMovie. I'm guessing you figured out that one that I put in that video the other day where you need to set student drive up. I'm guessing you all did that. Excellent. So I won't go over that one again. Okay, so for those that are going to be starting today, okay, you've imported your footage. What you'll find is you'll have all your footage down here, correct? And you've got it from your iPads and from your cameras. I'm just going to put some footage in here to show you what to do. So I'm just going to quickly import some movies, which are from Isabel, actually. So for those that are up to this point, again, always make sure that you have it on optimize. It just brings that size down, okay? It'll still look the same. It'll still be the same quality, but the resolution's brought down a little bit better, so it's a smaller file size, which is easy to work with. If you've got an event already, you might have an event up here that's called, Angus's movie. Add it to that. Okay, and then it'll put it in one spot. I know some of you didn't do that, and so down here you've got quite a few events with your footage. That's fine. It's just a bit easier, obviously, to do it. So I'm just going to create a new one and import these. These should import fairly quickly. Excellent. All right, and then you'll have, so here's your footage down here. Okay, this is your project library. So you want to do a new project here. For those that are just starting today, you hit the plus and it'll bring up this kind of theme and trailer stuff. Don't use any of these themes, okay? You want to have no theme. You can add this kind of stuff in later, but it's not a corny comic book. It's not a bulletin board. No theme is what you want. Widescreen, okay, which means you have that 16:9 widescreen, which is why we said it was really important that you filmed landscape with your iPads, because it'll fill up this entire screen. If you didn't, you'll get those black bars, but I'll show you how to fix that up for a few of you that have done that. That's fine. Obviously, when I was your age, we didn't have widescreen. We only had 4:3. Those big old TVs you might see dumped on the corner of a curb. They're about that big. That's all we had. Okay, 4:3 was the norm. Movies, when you went to the cinema, is when you saw 16:9, and you got even bigger now as well. But that's kind of like the standard there. Okay, so we'll create that, and then you have your new project. And all you do now is this will be full of footage. You just pick basically what you want. You might want to say, all right, all I want is this much footage here, or just a little bit, or the whole lot. Okay, and then you just select it. And you drag it up and you plonk it in there. As simple as that. Okay? And there's that footage. Now, it doesn't delete or edit this stuff. This is kind of like just your library of footage. It won't edit that. So if you decide that you only want a little bit of this, and you say, all right, you know what, I only want that bit, and I only want that bit there, you can do this thing called trim to selection. And there you go. And it'll just get rid of the stuff that you haven't selected. But it doesn't delete it. It stays down here. And you can actually see that little orange bar is showing you what you've used, okay? So that's the footage that you've used. Now let's say, all right, you know what? I actually don't want to have this section here and here. I don't think I like that, okay? You can actually trim as well, or you can split it. So if we split this, it puts a cut between that one and that one, okay? Again, the footage isn't cut itself, just your editing version is. So now I can go, you know what? All right, now I'll get rid of that. So again, trim to selections are what you want. Whenever you want to get rid of something, select however much you want, and then trim to selection, and it's gone. And then we can get rid of that, and trim to selection, or trim to playhead, and it's gone. And so now you've got rid of that little bit in the middle that you didn't want, okay? And then you might want to add this and plonk that in between there. And there we go, that section's in there as well, okay? And you can see it's showing, that's kind of like a sample of how much you see. I can make that a little bit shorter. So if you want to see more of the frames, this bar down here will show you more. If you want to see less, that's only showing 5-second blocks. It makes it a bit easy to see everything on screen. Okay? And so now you can start to put your footage in however you like. Again, we might want a little bit here, so we'll drop that in. Okay, then I've got this section, so I'll drop that in, and you just drag and drop it in, and slowly your movie will start taking shape here. You can move this around, you're not stuck. That might go there, I'll put that over there, and it instantly will change your footage. Okay, so that's the simple stuff there. If we go into here and we click this little, it looks like a cog, you've got some actual different settings, okay? And now, a few of these you'll probably use, a few you won't. So I'm just gonna go into my precision editor, and you can see it's made another section down here, and you can trim it a lot more detailed. You can take certain sections out. Okay, that's what that one does. But the main one that you guys might use is this cropping. Okay, so let's say that you did actually have a bit of footage and it had those black bars. With this crop, you can fit it, so you can actually fit it so it fits in that whole screen, or you can crop it, so I can say I want to only show that much or that much, move it around, and that way you won't get those black bars. So I might just crop it to here, and so now that's the part of the footage that it's showing. So you can crop out those black bars if you've done it. But obviously, you know, depending on how you filmed it, you might lose a bit of information. So we'll see what's more important. So that's your crop. So in the top, that's the top left, you've got crop. And your last one, this one here is called a Ken Burns. Now what that is, if you ever see anything kind of zoom in. So let's say you film something and you didn't do a zoom, like you didn't zoom in on the camera. You're like, oh, I wish I zoomed in then. You still can. So all you do is you've got your start and your end points. So I'm going to say at the end, I'm going to have it on Izzy's face. And at the start, I'm going to have it out here. And I'll do done. And so now what will happen when I play that, it'll do that zoom for you. So you can still zoom in your footage without having to worry about needing to have zoomed it to begin with. Okay? So that's really handy. And that's called your Ken Burns. So they're your cropping. All right? And finally, we've got a couple of other options in here. So I'll just get out of that one. We've got video adjustments. This is for your color. Okay, if you want to change some color and contrast, you know, make it a little bit redder, a bit green. All right, I don't know if these will help you in any way, depending on what you're trying to say. Maybe you film something and you want it to look like there's a really blue sky outside. You know, you can put a bit more blue in there. You can make it a bit brighter, a bit darker. Okay, your exposure, so there's more light coming in. So these are kind of effects you can do. You know, imagine if you wanted to do an explosion, you can make the footage go to that big white blur and it looks like it's exploded. Then you've got your audio adjustments. Okay, so if you want to actually get rid of the volume on a clip because you want to record over it, you can do that. You can bring the volume up or down. You can fade it in, you can fade it out. And finally, these are your clip adjustments. Now this is where you'll probably do most of your work. So a couple that you've got here. You've got your speed. If I click that convert, it'll should probably take a minute or two. What it'll do, it'll optimize this clip. And then it allows you to speed it up or slow it down. So if you wanted something to be in fast forward, you bring it up and it'll tell you that little clip there is now going to go, let's say, 400%. It's gone from 16 seconds to 4 seconds for the same amount of film because it's going at 400%. All right? And I'll show that in a second. Or you can do the opposite. You can slow it down. So my 16 seconds are now 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay? But it's really slow. So I'm going to speed that up. Stabilization, if your footage was a little bit wonky, you know, a little bit shaky when you filmed it, if you turn that on, it'll try and stabilize the clip. Okay, sometimes it works really, really well, sometimes not so well. It depends on how shaky it was. It's really just for small movements, it'll fix that up. Also, you can reverse it too. If you want the scene to go in reverse order, you can do that as well. So really simple effects here that you can use. And finally, you've got a video effect. Now, these are that ones I was talking about where you can change just the whole look of the film. You can flip it. So maybe you film something and you know what, your character was on the wrong side because then you filmed another shot, they were talking on the opposite side. Just flip it. No one will really notice unless you had a sign or something like that in the background. Like, they'll never notice that you flipped it. So you can flip it over. Raster does this little effect. Actually, I'll get out of that one because I've changed that. I'll show you on a different clip. Anyway, so that's in fast forward now, so you can see it moving a lot quicker. And it's also going to fast forward the audio too. Okay, I'll use this clip here, and I'll show you the video adjustments. All right, so let's go back to your video effects. So some real simple effects here. Okay, so we talked about flipped. Raster does that. I don't know, you might not be able to see it there as much. Yeah, it does like a line, kind of like an old TV look. So if you're going for that, maybe you're trying to show some footage that's on TV. You've got your raster. Cartoon, again, probably tricky to see, but what cartoon does is it washes out the colours and gives it a hard line. So it kind of does look like a cartoon. It does a pretty good job. Aged film, again, it does this kind of grainy look if you wanted to have some aged film. So think about ways these might work. Hard light, day into night. So again, it's a daytime shot. It now looks like a nighttime shot. You've got a glow there in case you wanted to have that kind of dreamy feel, you know, glow. And there's actually a dream filter as well, so everything has this kind of cloudy look. So for you guys, it might be doing flashbacks. Apply this dream filter. Romantic does that kind of blur around the border, which you see on all those really dodgy daytime soaps. So if you've got any romantic scenes, you know, the music changes, you might want to put that on there as well, because it'll focus in on the people's faces and it has this blur around it. It's very nice. Vignette again. Bleach is changing the color. Old world, again, looking old. Heat wave. So just simple. They're not too tricky, but they're really simple. Black and white, sepia, negative, and X-ray. So there are your video effects. So again, choose those, and it might just add a little bit of change to that scene. You know, make the person watching it feel, oh, it's got so blurry and cute. You know, you kind of help them along a little bit there. So that's your video effects, and that is it. Obviously, audio effects we talked about, video levels we talked about, and the clip. And that's all you need to do to your video. Okay, so that's basically the basics of editing. The last thing that you will do, okay, is possibly some transitions. So if we play this clip and then we jump into another one, or probably this one's a better one. If we play that and then we go straight into that, it's a bit jarring. Okay, so you want to have some transitions to make it a bit smoother. That's what these things up here are for. Okay, so here's your titles and here's your transitions. So you can kind of see whenever you put your mouse over these, it shows you an example. So that one's going to dissolve from one scene to another. That's going to blur from one scene to another, so on and so forth. You know, you can do a circle from one scene to the other. And all you do is you drop these in between those cuts. So if I put it in between there, and I play that back now, see how it kind of does that blur between the two? It's a pretty quick scene actually, so it might be hard to see. If I do fade to black and I put that in there, yes. So you can go in here, and again, you've got an editor. You can edit those transitions, or you can just simply change the time here. So I can say that lasts for a second. And so now, there's your fade. But what it does, obviously, is it needs to use your footage. So if you make that transition last longer, it's going to eat more of your footage up. And if we plonk a circle in there, and we'll replace it. And it'll change, or you can do these kind of things. So again, all these transitions, really easy to use, and they're instant as well. The second you plonk one in there, you can kind of see how it's going to look. So simple effects like that. But again, think about your movie. Like, that mosaic thing is kind of cool, but, you know, does it make sense when you transition from scene to scene? Does this kind of spin out? You know, will that make sense? Most movies that you watch, won't have these fancy transitions. They'll pretty much fade to black, or they'll blur, because again, it kind of changes the way your picture looks. So have a think about that. If you need any of these transitions, you know, page curl, they're kind of pretty cool. And it works across there. Okay? And finally, with your video, you have one other thing that you can do, which is kind of cool. If I select a bit of video here, and I drag it on top of some video that I've already got, you'll get this huge section here. All right? Replace will just replace it, okay? But you might want to do some other things. Green screen we won't worry about, but these are the two that I'm probably thinking that you might use. Picture in picture and side by side. So if I do side by side,
that's so cool.
You now have... Exactly. Yep, 2 bits of footage running at once. So yeah, really good for if you're doing those phone conversations and stuff like that. You can then go in, once you've done that, click your footage and then move this camera around so it focuses on the right person. So that's your side-by-side, and I'll show you the other one that you'll probably use. Your last one, all right, is picture-in-picture. It does, in the top corner there, you can see it's done the other bit of footage in the top corner. So if I play that, they're both running at once. Maybe if you're having a dream sequence or something like that, you can see what they're thinking, and you can move that around as well, and you can make it smaller and larger. Okay? And that's it. And that's iMovie. And that's all you will be doing. So it automatically saves up here. Okay, so when you exit your project, you'll have it there. You can break this down into seconds so you can see how long you got. So I've got a 15-second movie at the moment, and that's it. All right. Finally, which we'll probably get up to, I'm guessing not this week, but probably next week, in terms of audio and sound effects. Okay. Again, you can drag and drop this stuff in there, just like you would. So if I let's grab this one here. Yeah, of course. I'm going to put Staying Alive in there. If I drop that in. My movie's already changed. So again, depending on music is. Yeah. So you can drag your music in. You can then, of course, with your music, move it around, put it in different spots, speed it up, slow it down, turn it down so it's just in the background. And of course, you can actually put in audio effects too. So you've got this little guy here, okay, which is your sound recorder. So if you've missed, say you've recorded something and you're outside in the oval and you're recording something and you couldn't pick it up on the camera, you couldn't hear them talk, you can actually record a little section and place that in there, okay? And then what will happen is that little bit of recording will appear as a bit of audio and you can plonk it in. So if I bring that up again. So to record, click a clip where you want the voiceover to begin. So I want it to begin there. And then it'll count down. Now it's recording. So thank you, Scarlett. And then we'll stop it. And what it'll do, it'll make a bit of voiceover, which you can see down there. Now it's recording. So thank you, Scarlett. And you've got a separate bit of audio. So that's called Foley, all right? So what that means is when you talk, you might actually get your characters to sit in a room and redo that scene and talk directly into the microphone, and you'll get a better quality. You can then bring the sound of that down. If it's too loud, speed it up, slow it down, change where it goes, all those kind of things, and you can move those around. So that will probably be a next week thing, all right, adding that Foley and music as well. So all we're really looking for today is getting this in order. All right, and finally, get that amazing movie. I just want to play that song. All right, so let's get going, guys. Good work. I'll come around and help you out. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to show you really quick is how to add your photos, okay, if you want to put photos in, and also how to put in just like placeholder stuff. So let's say you need to film something tonight or tomorrow, you can put in just a little placeholder so you can keep editing. So first things first, I'm going to show you how to do a bit of a placeholder. So here's my image. This could be whatever photo that you want. All right, I'm going to just drop that in there. So you drag your photo straight from wherever it is into your project. All right. Now at the moment, I've put in this here. I'm just going to make that fit. All right. I've just got this footage coming soon. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, let's say that's a scene where I'm talking to somebody in front of the cat. All right. And you know that you want to have that go for about 20 seconds. You haven't done it yet. You're going to film that tonight. What I want you to do is put something like this in here, so then when I watch it, I'll know, oh, okay, that's why that made no sense, because there's a scene missing. So what I'm going to do is I put that image in, all right? If I double click it, I can change the length of it. So I'm going to say, right, this is a scene that's going to go for 60 seconds. Done. And so now my film will play, and then I'll have this 60 seconds here. And then you can keep editing. So now you know the time's going to be right, because you've just got this placeholder. All right, so what I'll do is I'll put this little JPEG in the resources, so then you can just drag and drop this in as many times you want to wherever you want, okay, to hopefully, you know, it'll make it easier to edit because you know, all right, I know I'm missing a little bit here and I'm missing a little bit here. And then what will happen is, down the track when you've got your footage, all right, cool, I've got my footage, you drag it over it, and then you just do replace, and there it is, okay, that placeholder's gone, and your footage is now there. So it's a lot easier for you, okay? And this is also how you add in photos too. So if you wanted to add in a photo that you wanted to put into your film, same deal. You go in here, you find a photo that you can use. I'll put that one in, it's a recent one I've got, and you drag and drop, and you can put your photo in there, and it sits in there. All right? Look how studious they look. Okay? You can add your photos in. All right, and you can then go in and you can do all those effects that we did before. You can make it go longer. All right, you can change it so it doesn't do that blurring and how it zooms in and zooms out. You can make it fit, you know, or you can crop it. You can do all those kind of things as well. with your photos if you need to put them in. And you can do transitions, you know, before and after your photos. So a photo works exactly the same as footage works. Okay? And you can add audio to them as well. And you can trim them and you can do all those kind of things. So that's how you use your photos. And you can, of course, still do a couple of those tricky things, like if I grab my photo and put it over some footage, you can do, you may not, I'll double check this, but you can do your side by side. So I've got my image and, you know, you might have, Izzy might be here talking about some amazing teacher that teaches media and he's such a, you know, amazing person. And then the picture might come up of that person, okay, while she's talking about him. So you can do those kind of things too. All right, that's photos. Cool. So I'll put this footage coming soon image in your Dropbox now so you guys